Shabbat Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakdash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth, and salutations to sincere Akim and Aqua Theming. Listen, may the blessing of election be over your house. My name is Brother Akwai. I'm back in here with another lesson. And for today's lesson is, as you can see on the screen, it says, why is conduct so important? Right? And it's a topic I've been meditating on for the past couple of days, And what inspired this lesson is noticing the vibration that Babylon emits and has a lot on our and has that vibration that it pushes upon our people, and then how that vibration trickles down into how parents raise their children, right? Because proper conduct, from what I've noticed, from Babylon it promotes degeneracy, right? It doesn't promote having a good standards. It doesn't promote being upright like the scriptures talk about, right? It especially amongst our young men and young women as well. But for the title of this lesson, I'm mostly going to be focusing on the young men, because it's important for us to get in order, right, and set that example. So without further ado, let's get the word conduct in the etymology. Okay, so this is conduct in the etymology, early 15th century, to guide, accompany, show the way, to lead or bring together, contribute, serve, with, together, right, to lead, right? And so it's very interesting that in our society that we live in, our Israelite young men and women as well, they're shown a path of degeneracy, especially amongst these celebrities, and then especially amongst politicians and so on and so forth, right? They're not shown a good way. And our way, in the faith, we learn the ways of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? So first off, let me just get a quick precept in regards to 2 points that I made. So in regards to the celebrities, let's start with that. Okay, so this is Matthew 15, verse 14. It reads, let them alone, if they be blind leaders of the blind, and Salakia, so Yahweh Shai said, let them alone, they be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, they shall both fall into a ditch, right? So this is speaking in regards to, and this also encompasses our people as well in authority positions that claim to have some kind of truth, but when you realize, they're just trying to siphon out money from our people, right? And our people are in a very, very dead state. So they don't have a righteous, upright example of how they should be and how they should conduct themselves, right? So let's get Hebrews, because our example is Yahweh Shai. Let's read. So this is Hebrews 12, verse 2. And it reads, looking to Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising shame, and is set down at the right hand of the Most High, right? So the key word I wanted to focus in on here is it says author, right? So I want to get that in the Greek, so just bear with me 1 second. because it's showing that Yahweh Shai, live this example of how we should live, right? How we should conduct ourselves, amongst the brethren, you know, and throughout our daily lives, right? So here, so this is the Greek. Let's play it.
Strong's G 747. Archegas. Archegas.
So the word is archegos, right? So here below it reads the chief leader, prince of Yahweh Shai, one that takes the lead in anything and thus affords an example, a predecessor in a matter, a pioneer, an author, right? So we're looking to him, because he's showing us the way of how we should walk, us men that are in the faith, right? And showing this is how an Israelite man is supposed to be, right? And not supposed to be a couple of degenerates, because that is the vibration that Babylon pushes on our people, right? They show us how to be, unruly, disrespect parents, and take on these filthy philosophies of the world, right? And ultimately, it's just satanic because it just goes against the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Proverbs 22:6 reads, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it," right? So this scripture can be twofold. It could be talking about a little child, but since we wake up to this truth, for us that have been in it for a few years, we're also likened unto children, right? And children receive nourishment. And what is the kind of nourishment that our children receive? Let's get it. So this is Isaiah 28 verse 9, and it reads, "Whom shall he teach knowledge? Whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts. For precept must be upon precept, precept on precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little," right? So the milk represents the basics and the understanding, and that is how you nourish a child, right? By us, constantly reading the scriptures and trying to understand the doctrine, how to conduct ourselves, learning character, upright Israelite character, not the westernized character that has not helped any of us. That so-called black culture, that stuff needs to be thrown out, because those different philosophies and ways of living have not actually been a positive influence on our people. It actually has done the complete opposite, right? So like I said, the milk represents those basics and understanding, and eventually what does the child receive? A child receives, they receive, more solid food as they grow, right? So this is just to also add to that development, right? And this is why conduct is so important, because a lot of us come out of the world, especially in Babylon. We've been in Babylon for so long, where we've taken on, very those habits, those bad habits, that are very we don't know how to treat each other, we don't know how to treat our fellow brethren, and so on and so forth, right? It's treat our parents, whether it's close family, and so on and so forth, right? So the scriptures are teaching us a way to actually live upright and actually be upright, right? So let's get Psalms. Okay, so this is Psalms 101 verse 2, and it reads, "I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come unto me? Will I will walk within my house in a perfect heart, right? Actually, let's get that in the NLT. Let's see how that reads. Okay, so in the NLT, it reads, I will be careful to live a blameless life. When will you come to help me? I will live, Salakia, I will lead a life of integrity in my own home, right? So this is King David talking about, how, this is how, we ought to behave, right? And this is why it's good to also read a lot of these stories, especially surrounding King David, right? Because, even before he was king, there were multiple examples of how he showed that integrity, even towards Saul. And when Saul was trying to kill him, he still had that reverence for him. And this is just to go to show that this is part of that conduct that I'm talking about, right? Because like, imagine if somebody you have somebody that's actually trying to kill you, and yet for all you still, like a fellow Israelite, I should say. Let me just preface that, somebody trying to kill you, but like a family member, for example, yet for all, when they die, you don't speak very ill of them. You still had some kind of respect for them, and that is the example that King David showed, throughout his walk, right? Even before he was king, right? So this is this is just part of that conduct that I want to continuously, to reiterate, right? For now, we don't care for the 2/3, but this is just a mentality to also bring forth, amongst, the brothers, and amongst our walk in our daily lives, right? It's just some things, and part of that character is something to think about, right? Hang on. Okay, so this is John chapter 13, verse 35, and it reads, Yahweh said, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have loved one another, right? So this is the, through that conduct, this is how, show that, we are Yahweh Shai's disciples, right? Just by the way we conduct ourselves, and this is how the way we treat each other, right? Because Yahweh Shai, like in the beginning of the lesson, that the precept says, he is that author, he is that cornerstone, he is that pioneer that showed us a way of how to treat each other, right? So I had a few more precepts, but actually, let me get one more. But a lot of this speaks to, I think it's in Jeremiah. One second. It's one of my favorites. Let's see. Okay, so this is Jeremiah 51, verse 7, and it reads, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And one of the reasons I want to just bring this out is because, first of all, let me just say that the wine represents philosophies. Secondly, the point I want to make is that the ways of Babylon, which is America, they push forth that spirit, and that's a very rebellious spirit, right? And that's not that is completely opposite to proper Israelite, culture, right? Like the example I was giving of with Dave and David and King Saul, right? So, one of the reasons the nations are mad at this place and are mad at America is because they push forth that vibration. And that vibration is a very rebellious vibration. I'll give you an example, because you have countries in the Middle East that are very that are well more orderly. Their women have their place and the men have their place. It's very, very traditional. It's very, very ancient. But the ways of Babylon, scoffing against scoffing against your fellow brethren, killing each other, that vibration, that very cutthroat spirit is mingled amongst this place. And there is no regard for actually treating your own people with some care, camaraderie, and actually having proper conduct amongst this place, right? So this is why the nations are mad at America, right? There's a plethora of other examples, like the alphabet lifestyle and feminism and so on and so forth. But for the sake of this lesson, we're speaking strictly of conduct, right? So hopefully this video is edifying. I had a couple more precepts, but I pretty much just made the point. But anyways, I'm just gonna close out, and hopefully this video was edifying. And I just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. The next time I say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.